Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. I'm really chuffed because I managed to arrange to interview Ben the Shaman for this week's podcast, which felt right because it was off the back of Beltane. But we actually went through a bit of a process discussing how we're going to make it work, because he wants to do a healing with me and to work with me more so that I understand his work better before he talks more about his practice, which I fully agreed with and was like, absolutely, I'd love that. That would be amazing. And I also wanted to talk to him about what had happened at Beltane. So this is going to be a two-part podcast where we'll talk again later on after I've been through the process of working with Ben, and we've worked together on the land and in the area where I live, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, it's just interesting because the universe has asked me twice for me to do energy work. And I was also feeling, towards the end of last year, I was starting to feel like I was just repeating myself a little bit and going through the motions of what I do. And I felt like I needed to deepen my practice and just have a bit of a zhuzh. And it feels like Ben's come into my life at exactly the right time, as the universe is asking me to do more kind of energy work type stuff. And I also felt like I needed a bit of a replenish to refill my well and my expertise, and opening up deeper, further, just moving forwards with the work that I do, spiraling all the words that are whatever that is, opening up to the things. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm excited about the journey that this has taken me on. And it was great to speak to Ben. So without further ado, I look forward to sharing this with you. So here is Ben the Shaman, otherwise known as Ben Crow. Welcome to Nonsense in the Chaos. We have our guest today, which is Ben Crow. Nice to meet you, Ben.
Nice to meet you too.
Be here.
Thank you for inviting me.
We have only met once as well, so It feels like we're only really just getting to know each other. Ben very kindly came and opened Beltane for us this year, and we met through Claire Cole, who I've interviewed on the podcast before. So you were just telling me about your actual job, which was interesting. Tell us a bit about your story and how you came to know Claire and what you're doing in Guernsey and what your job is and what it is.
Goodness. Okay, the 40 years in 10 seconds. Okay, qualified engineer, been working in space, aerospace, building rockets for NASA and things. Grossly depressed, gave all that up to find myself. Ended up traveling with shamans in Peru for a month and learning to love myself. Realized that trying to be the rocket scientist and the best version of myself was because I hated myself because I was gay. So I was there, came out, learned to love myself, by loving myself, I realized I could help myself and help others. And that guided me down the path of shamanism, of basically being myself and being an inspiration so other people can be themselves. Just so happens that doing shamanic healing is really cool, and then people feel empowered. So then I've been a shaman since then. Learn to love yourself. You don't take so much crap from the world. You say, no, this is my red line, this is my integrity, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So I ended up working in renewable energy as a consultant because that felt right, and then actually stopped doing that to be a full-time shaman and just doing shamanic healings. And why I'm in Guernsey is because 4 years ago, we had a family situation which caused me to move from Sweden, where I was living, to be with my family here in Guernsey. So then I had to start a new life here in Guernsey. I started by doing a healing for a friend of my sister. And then that person started talking about Ben the Shaman. And I was at the bathing pools one day, swimming with a friend who I had just met. He introduced me to another person in the bathing pools who came up to me and said, "Are you Ben the Shaman?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And then so that's how Ben the Shaman stuck, because the first client, had basically said Ben the Shaman, and it became a little catchphrase. So then a lot of people started coming up to me saying, "Are you Ben the Shaman?" And it just stuck. So I thought, okay, I'll just run with it. So that was that. So then started doing circles here and ceremonies here on Guernsey. And there was a lovely lady called Sabine who did gong baths and things. And she'd been doing these wonderful gong ceremonies for quite some time. I went to one of those, and she happened to be leaving to go to Madeira. So I offered to do a leaving ceremony for her, which introduced me to other people, and the circle grew. And then through connections, I heard about Claire doing horse healing. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I'm terrified of horses. I better go along. And then we just clicked. And that's how I met Claire. And then To cut a long story short, I've been doing my shamanic work here, and then I had so many people who were asking me, "How do you do what you do? How can you learn? Can you teach what you do?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I have to bring a medicine wheel here." And they were like, "So do it." And I was like, "Okay." So my shaman who lives in Sweden, I spoke to him and I said, "Look, do you want to hold a medicine wheel here on Guernsey with me, and we'll run it together?" And he was like, "Sure." We've put on a medicine wheel, and then other people have come and started this 2-year education to do a medicine wheel. And that is, a medicine wheel is, yeah, you're taught the shamanic way based on the Inca shamanic path, which is where my medicine comes from. But it doesn't mean you have to run around with a bunch of stones and a pink poncho. It's more about you finding your medicine and you finding your spirituality and using the tools and techniques that you learn for your own benefit and to help people in your way. So that's how my sort of circle has grown. And then obviously I still do healings and I still do ceremonies, and I come to events like Beltane and things like that. It's all very organic. Yeah. And that's the way I like to keep it. I don't want to pigeon box myself and say I only do this and that and what have you. I prefer to just people reach out to me when they feel like they need to, because then it's like a genuine, okay, let's make contact, as opposed to me forcing myself out there in media.
Yeah.
That's probably my back door as a
Oh, that's a nice way to be. I wish I was, but
Yeah.
I've got like the curse of being able to do, I always call it left and right brain. I know that's not really how it works, but
Oh, right.
I'm like a creative artist who annoyingly can organise things. And so it just means that I'm always, no, it's not. It's really annoying. I wish I could just be an artist and not like, and have people do stuff for me. But no, I'm always organising things because I can.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great. And I was really touched by the ceremony that you held, and just I could feel that you'd done it a lot because you were so comfortable in it and in yourself doing it. It felt really authentic and unforced. Like you weren't having to think about what you were doing. It was second nature. So it felt really embodied. And as you were doing it, the rain stopped. Can you share the story that you just shared with me about the land? Because I've been talking on the podcast about my relationship to this land, and it'd be interesting to chat about that. So talk about what happened in the morning before you came to the opening ceremony.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I haven't been to Sark a lot at all. I think 4 times in my life. So I don't know anything.
So where
really
did you grow up? Like your family, you were saying you come back to...
So I grew up in the UK, and then I moved to Sweden for 14 years. And then I've been in Sweden for the last, been there for 14 years. And then 4 years ago, I moved to Guernsey. So I've only ever been on the island for a few months and then disappeared again.
Okay, right.
So I'm not really from now. So for me, it was really exciting going to Sark because I've only been there a little bit and I've never been to your area. I always seem to have tried to get to the Venus pools and get lost on the way, and that took the whole mission. So I'd never seen the house or the garden or anything. And so when we got to your house and the glades and the area that we're supposed to be, the beauty of it is the first thing that sort of really knocks you as wow, this is beautiful. It's almost, you almost get a little bit of a Jurassic Park vibe with all the big plants and things, and like a dinosaur could jump out, but it is very beautiful. It's very magical. But when we got there, it was beautiful, but it felt a bit heavy, and I don't mean that negatively. It felt, it didn't feel settled, and I didn't feel settled because I hadn't met you yet, and we were setting up, and I was like, "Is this the right place? We're doing it here," and blah blah blah. So I thought, okay, I have to do a cleansing because there is something here which doesn't quite feel, it didn't feel harmonious, put it that way. And we have Palo Santo, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna walk around the area with the Palo Santo and just feel into it and feel what's going on. And as I was walking down by your pond, I felt, okay, this isn't just me being a bit nervous on the day. It feels like there is some heaviness here that is in the land. And I don't know what it was because I wasn't there to delve or dig. I was just like, okay, there is heaviness here. That's totally okay. And then I walked past the well, and that felt a little bit interesting to be worked. And then I walked back up the bank a little bit and came back around to where our little gazebo was. And so that was the first impression was, okay, there's some heaviness here, but that's okay. It's a beautiful area. Let's just honor that it feels a little bit heavy and give a bit of love to the land. And the impression I got was that whole area, and when I say area, I don't just mean that little valley. It was just like where the houses and beyond, which I couldn't really see. It almost felt like it had been used, but not thanked. And that might sound really strange, but that's the impression I got. It's just like more people here, and like it's running on empty a little bit, or unacknowledged, something like that. And you and I discussed that before Beltane, we would do a private ceremony for you just for the land, because you told about your story that it called you there and it called you to the house, and I think your marriage there, and you're very connected there. So Claire and I said, okay, we're going to do a gratitude ceremony for you and for the land, not for Beltane. This is just to say thank you, and also to ask permission to be here, because we walk on the planet and we go in wherever we want, essentially, but we never ask Mother Earth, is it okay if I do a thing here? It's not something that comes across to us in our Western brains. We just do. So, but in the shamanic way, it's very much, now this is Mother Earth, ask permission and then do it. Because when you ask permission, you'll get an answer. So we said, okay, we'll do a ceremony here for the land. But before you do a ceremony, you have to open space. And what that means is you call in all the energies and all the directions to come and hold you in that space, and to hold you in your energy and all the nice stuff which is compatible with you, so that you are safe and that nothing can go wrong, and only energies that are supposed to be there are invited to be there. And it helps you to connect to the area you're in. It's like putting on a safety belt when you go into a car. So we called space, and we did that with, I had the shell thing, the pututu, and you call in the 4 directions, and you call to Mother Earth, and you call to the stars, and then you call to your heart, all these energies to open the space. And we did that, and we started doing the dispatcher ceremony just for you and just for the land, to say thank you for the land. And as we were blowing the petals into the paper, we heard a rumble. It was like, okay, that sounded like thunder, but it's not supposed to thunder today. And then we carried on, and then there was another rumble. It was like, okay, that sounded louder. And as we continued, the rumbling came. It was like, oh, okay, there is thunder on this way. And then the skies pretty much opened, and it rained like crazy. Mm-hmm. And we all started getting wet. But it was beautiful, because that was nature saying, I'm here, I hear you, I see you. For us, that's how we interpreted it. It's not, I'm here to make you wet, get out of here. It was just like, no, here is a cleansing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for asking permission. I'm cleansing you. I'm here with you. And so the rain really carried on. And I know that in the weather it was supposed to be heavy rain, so we were expecting it, and that was fine. But it was really quite heavy.
And it was meant to be heavy rain all day, and instead we had extremely heavy rain just immediately.
Yeah. So I've been in that situation once before, and that's when I was up in Peru, up in the mountains, for my first time when I ever went to Peru, when I just come out of depression, and I was with shamans and didn't know what the hell was going on. And we did a ceremony up in the mountains, and it was May, and it started blizzarding. And we were told to wear a white t-shirt. So I was up there with a white t-shirt, and suddenly it started blizzarding, so I had to put my snow jacket on. And the shaman said, this is a blessing from Mother Earth. This weather is saying that she hears you and she's blessing you. And then the snow turned to rain and we got drenched. But it was a similar kind of feel at Beltane. The weather came, the lightning came. And this, for me, was like, okay, the weather has responded. Mother Earth is here, she's listening, and she's cleansing us. And then the lightning came. And lightning can be pretty scary, and some people think it's... But for us, it's, oh, that's really cool. That's just wisdom and energy showing itself to you. And the shamans have a beautiful thing where they say there's masculine lightning and feminine lightning. And the feminine lightning is the lightning that lights up the whole sky at night and goes along the clouds. And the masculine lightning is the one that shoots down into the ground and explodes a tree or something. And obviously, since no one got hit, it was the feminine lightning going across the clouds. I couldn't see it, but you could hear it. It was right there going across. So for me, we were being held by feminine lightning right above where we were doing Beltane. And I thought, thank you. This is awesome.
So cool.
And although we were getting drenched, it felt really awesome that it was happening, because it was just like, it's here, she's here. And then we looked at the clock and it was like, oh, God, we've got to start in 20 minutes. I've got to find you. I don't know where you are. So we were trundling up the hill, and then heard that you were in the church. We were going to the church, and that's where I met you for the first time. And then we were talking about the parade, and everyone was so nicely dressed in all their outfits of the sort of the archetypes of the energies and things. And yeah, so then when we were going out, that's when Beltane was starting. So again, we had to open space again. And you had asked me to open space for Beltane. And you say I knew what I was doing. I'd been feeling it and thinking it the day before, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to bring the energies together? Because obviously, as you had written, you were Celtic, so you open in the 4 directions, east, west. And for the Celtic tradition, they might have a different element attached to a different archetypal energy or an animal. And in the Peruvian way, it's also the 4 directions, but they have a different energy, a different archetype or different element. So I tried to combine the 2 elements to work together, because it's 2 traditions mixing. And also what that direction means to me. So I didn't call in the eagle and the condor and the hummingbird and the snake, because people there might think, what the hell are you talking about? And it's not really about that. It's about the energy of the eagle, the energy of the condor. It's about manifestation and healing and possibilities and saying yes to your soul. So I missed out the power animal bit because I didn't know if they have that in the Celtic tradition, and just called in that energy and worked with the two elements and stuff to call in the directions. And then to Mother Earth, obviously, after we do the 4 directions, we went to Mother Earth and put the hands on Mother Earth and saying thank you for this and thank you for the healing, for letting go, for letting us to shed all our skin, and for the blessing and for the rain, for the cleansing and all this thing. And then we open to the stars, and to not just the stars, the upper world. And that's like the sun, the moon, the stars, the constellations, all of creation, and our celestial family. Because in the shamanic tradition, our souls essentially come from the future into this meat bag life to experience and to grow, and then go back to the future to bring that experience to the universe where it can grow consciously. So we already have a celestial family. We have a physical mum and dad that made the meat bag, but we also have a celestial family that chose this life and things. So when we open to the stars or to the upper world, we call to them as well to guide us and to hold us. So we called in all of that, and also then to open our hearts. And that was basically the opening that I did with you guys in front. Oh, and no, before that, I also stood there and shook my mesa, my big bundle of stones, which is our sort of our medicine. And that was an invocation to basically call in everything, like all the energies of the archetypal energies, the 4 directions, the upper world, this world, the underworld, which also represent healing, being present, and possibilities. And it also represents your subconscious, your conscious, your superconscious. To call in the mountains, which are guidance and wisdom and support. To call in Sark, because Sark has all these crystal caves. I've heard, I've never been, but I've heard. And you could feel that there's something about Sark, which I have to go back. Yeah. But there is something there. And to call in those energies, the dolmens, to call those in, because they're really prominent here in Guernsey. And I know you've got some in Sark. To call those in, because they've got some incredible energies and wisdom in them. And to call in the fairies and the energies of Beltane as well. So to call in all of that to hold us in Beltane. And that was basically what we did to open space. And then as we did that, then again, Mother Nature answered and the rains eased off a bit. And then it got a bit misty, but that was good.
It was misty and then it went sunny.
And then it went sunny, yeah.
It wasn't forecast at all, so that was brilliant.
All right.
Like, literally all day, everyone was like, that worked, didn't it? I was like, yeah. Ben can come again, that worked. It was brilliant. And so when that crack of thunder went off overhead, I was in the chapel and had just about 4 or 5 minutes before spoken to the horse and carriage people, because the little girls who were the May Queens were crying and were drenched and were scared of getting on the carriage because of the lightning. And then I'd spoke to the driver and he said, well, actually it's undercover, so they'll be all right if they get in there. But 2 of them didn't want to, they were too scared, but 2 did. And then that huge crack of thunder went off and I had a vision of them just bolting and me killing the May Queens. And when I went to the toilet, I had a blood vessel burst in my eye. And I think it was like the stress of that moment. I just freaked out, which was also why I later in the day came and got a healing from you, because I wanted to anyway, but normally I'm running around and I may have got round to doing it, but it was a very good chance I wouldn't have done. But because I'd seen what I'd done to my eye, I was like, I definitely think my nervous system needs a little TLC. So I made the effort I was like, I'm going to go and do this. That's actually something that I think will benefit everybody. And it was really wonderful and I loved it. And I loved being down there and what you'd created. And it so fitted perfectly that the dispatcho was then put into the wicker man. It was such a lovely way of doing it, and to mix it up, because we've done similar things with people writing bits on paper and just tucking it into the wicker man. But this felt like a really wonderful additional offering that felt even it went further than what we'd been doing before. But also to be down by that pond, because I fully agree, this area is insane. It's so insane. It's the first place I've ever moved to where I had bad dreams about it beforehand. I had crazy dreams that there was... So I dreamt there was a vortex in the house to hell, and that we sealed it with all the demons inside and they were really pissed off. And it created a biblical flood on Earth, and the flood came up through the valley. And I was trying to save Rodney's dad's ashes, who was the guy who built the house. I was trying to save his dad's ashes. And I woke up from that and was like, okay, this is not a chilled house that I'm in.
And you still moved in there anyway, that's brave.
I still moved in there anyway, because we've so been pulled here, like whatever is going on. So I've looked into it a bit since I got here, and this is the oldest... There's settlements all over the place that have been Neolithic, and where the dolmens are and everything. It's all over the place. But there was a dolomite mine, which is a mound that's literally right out my window.
Oh, wow.
I can see it. And axe heads from that mine have been found all over Europe. So they were trading axe heads from here using the dolomite seams. And this valley it's not necessarily the only well that was used, but it's definitely one of the earliest wells. It could be the earliest well, but it's definitely one of the oldest. And it's probably the oldest that's been continually drawn from and used, because they're not using it now, but it's still there. And then the monastery was built here, but it was the monks' well. And I had a strange story when I moved here, and I can't remember who told me this, but it was a conversation I had where when you catch yourself thinking about something and you're like, hang on a minute. So someone was saying to me, oh yeah, there was a story of witches on Sark years ago, because apparently a load of witches attacked the monastery, accusing them of stealing babies. And when they said that, I went, but could it have been the mothers of the babies trying to get their babies back from the monks, who then just got called witches? And whoever it was said, that's interesting, because recently they found remains of babies' skeletons in the monastery in Guernsey. And I was like, well, there you go. And it was just yeah, exactly. It was across the stream on the other side of the valley to me. I feel like everything from my house downwards to the sea is elementals and fairies and nature and magic. And that feels like that knows what it's doing. That feels fine. Right. It's this bit up towards the humanity where the monastery is, then there's the seigneury and there's the ponds. And yeah, it just feels like some bad stuff's happened around here and that Fair energy enough. Needs clearing. Yeah. And that's, so and I don't know how, and it's not something that I've found myself in the experience of being a geomancer without that being a planned or looked for thing. I first started to notice how much Pachamama, Mother Nature, worked with me, first of all from doing a theatre tour about sisterhood, which was about women who were being accused of witchcraft. And I took it to all the places where the Witchfinder General had tortured and executed witches, and we performed the play and then did a healing ceremony. And it was lots of things happened with it as well that were interesting, with someone whose partner was black questioning why, when we did the healing with the stones, why the white represented hope and the black represented oppression. She said, it's always that way round. So we swapped it. And it was really interesting how it completely jumbled everyone's brains. They always said it the other way round. And then I'd go, no, we're saying the black one for hope and the white one for oppression. And everyone was like, oh, right, okay. So that really made people stop and think, which was interesting. But also, the first two performances, it was thunder and lightning, rain. And we knew that on Halloween, on Samhain, we were going to be performing, and it was full moon, and we were going to be performing where Matthew Hopkins first accused his neighbour of being a witch and had pulled her out by the hair and accused her of being a witch. And that's what started the whole craze. He killed 70% of the witches in the UK, and he was 27 when he died. So it came from this 27-year-old nutter who had no legal right to be doing what he was doing. He died of tuberculosis, so Mother Nature got him in the end. But I knew we were going to be there at his birthplace and where he'd lived, and I didn't know his grave was there, and I didn't know what we were going to say or do. What was our intention to him? And we ended up pulling a tarot card, and in the tarot card, this particular deck was sort of women. It was a feminine pack, and there was the Wheel of Fortune, and in the spokes at the top were these three women in their power with beautiful golden hair and looked really well and happy, and then the three at the bottom looked in complete despair and like they'd been accused of witchcraft. And it was when Trump had just got in and Boris Johnson had just got in. Oh, right. And it was like, okay, so these things happen, tyrants come and fall, these people, they move, this too shall pass. And so it was like, actually, we're just going to forgive and forget him. We're just moving on. We're not going to scream at his grave. We're not going to whatever. We're just letting go of this. We're going to move on. And when I said this at one of the performances, like the day before Halloween, a massive crack of thunder went off, just as I said, we're forgiving and forgetting Matthew Hopkins. And everyone jumped out of their skin. And then we went to his birthplace and did the performance in the pub where it all began. And it was really misty and the neighbours were looking out their curtain and it all felt really sinister and really horrible. Right. And then we did the performance and came out and put the stones at the bottom of the trees. There were 3 trees that had been planted for the 3 women that were hung. And the roots of the trees, the clouds parted, the full moon shone down on us. And then the next day there was a rainbow over our venue. And then from then on it was sunny. It was
There you
just
go.
like, oh, there you go. Yeah, literally. I was like,
So
right.
Mother Earth is
Mother Earth
responding
joins
to you.
in. Yeah. Since then, I've done pilgrimages walking 500 miles across the country, and we do
Oh, wow.
theatre. And so I've done that 5 times. So I go on walkabout and I walk across the UK. I do a St George's Cross, and we perform the traditional Mama's play of George and the Dragon as an act of worship. And we're walking with healing sticks. So we're giving the earth an acupunctural massage with our sticks and our feet and our intention. The points, like the node points along the route where the sacred sites
Yeah.
are. Sometimes just for the earth, like there's no one else watching. We're just doing it for the earth.
Yeah, good.
And we get claps of thunder and applause. We have rainbows that are there for 2 days in the same spot. We've had all sorts of magic happen. And so now I'm used to that relationship. Like it's a completely dynamic 2-way thing. So me coming here, regardless of the nightmares, regardless of the fact that when we first moved in, Dizzle felt something jump on him and ride him round the whole house while he came to collect something. Something jumped on his shoulders.
Who was that?
Entity, my husband, Dizzle.
Oh, your husband? Oh, God.
Yeah, so the first time he came to the house on his own to get something, like he'd come to pick something up for me, he felt something jump on his shoulders at the top of the stairs, travel round the house with him, and then to the pub, absolutely ashen. I've never seen someone genuinely ashen. He was the colour of ash. He was terrified. We were really scared for a while, and then something shifted and we stopped. It felt like we'd been welcomed, but the whole time I knew that we'd been pulled here, so I wasn't in any doubt that this was meant to be. And we went for a walk down to the beach today, and just the whole time it's like it's almost like we're with someone that we know fancies us.
Oh, right, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like
You feel like there's a presence there.
there's a romance.
Watching.
Yeah, there's a
romance,
romance.
okay.
Yeah, it feels like the first time I came to the valley after I knew we were getting the house, it was like seeing someone that you'd been told fancied you, and it was the first time you'd seen them since, and it was like, oh, hi. I'm going to be living with you soon. But yeah.
I see you're
it's
blushing
just
too.
stunning.
Okay.
Yeah, no, totally. I love this valley. But yeah, it feels very powerful, and I'm really honoured to be here. And I'm looking forward to a lifetime's work of whatever this valley wants from me. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Beautiful.
So I'm really excited about doing work with you. So we're going to go on a bit of a journey together, and you're going to do some healing and things with me here. I'd love you to come here to do it, and you can stay here.
Yeah, no, I would
spend
love to
time
come
in the
back.
valley.
I would love to come back and explore, especially the dolmens and all around there, and really understand Sark and the caves and the history there, because I'm a bit ignorant and I don't know anything. I just hear amazing things from here, from Guernsey, and you look across the water in Sark, and sometimes you can see it has totally different weather.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got our own weather going on.
and sometimes it looks way better over where you are than here. And then sometimes the sea is just absolutely so rough. Okay,
They're not getting any food this week.
Yeah, so there is definitely some magic there. But I would love to come over to your place, to your valley, and really spend some time there and really feel what happens. And that's in this shamanic tradition. There isn't really a hierarchy of shamans. There are 3 different types. There's the shaman of the land, and then there's the shaman of the mountains, and there's the shaman of the universe, and that's the pinnacle one. And so everyone who's training is a shaman of the land. And part of the path of walking as a shaman is to go to places where cleansing might be needed, and to offer that to help rebalance whatever is there. And you mentioned the word entity, so I will use the word entity. Entities for us are really real, and things that when I have clients, I often extract an entity. I might say it in different words depending on whether I know that they are open to believing that there's an energy in their energy field, or whether they just think it's a personality trait or what have you. But there are energies which can latch onto us and stick in our energy field, and most of the time they should never be there, and most of the time they're probably a bit uncomfortable, to say the least. So yeah, so that your husband felt something, I can totally understand that. But there are ceremonies for cleansings, and I'm going to do a cleansing ceremony this weekend for a client, and it's a beautiful ceremony to re-honor the land, and to actually, what you do is you invite in all those energies that are there, and you create a portal or a spiral, and you separate the heaviness of that energy from the entity. So you basically give the entity a healing, so that they let go of their heaviness, so then they can go to where they're supposed to go, and their heaviness goes back to Mother Earth. Because for us, Mother Earth isn't heavy; she eats the heavy energy. Actually, for her, it's like fertilizer on the fields. For us, we wouldn't eat horse manure, but for her, it's fertilizer, and in return, she gives us flowers. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So when you do a cleansing for a land, it's exactly the same. You feel the energy of the entity or entities that are there, and you help them separate from their heaviness so that they can go to where they actually want to go to, and then they let go of whatever they're holding on to, and that then clears the land. So yeah, we can absolutely do that. And then also do readings or meditations in certain places to connect to actually understand what is here, what happened here, what do I need to know, as you call yourself a geomancer. So that sounds very similar to a shamanic role. You're working with nature. So to go into a meditation and say, well, what happened here and what can I do to help maintain or bring balance to this area or to honor it, especially since you are holding Beltane there and it's your private property, and then there's the whole Beltane area. I think for you, probably you might want to set up not altars in the sense of the traditional sense of, altar is a good word, a place where you just pay respect and you hold that place in high regard. It's like keeping your kitchen clean. You keep your kitchen clean because you're going to eat there, and it's hygienic kind of thing. And it's the same for the garden. You cleanse the area, and then you look after places around you because the energies are holding you, and they're holding your family, and they're holding that land. So of course you want to hold them too.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
You can do all sorts of that. And then I don't know who owns the monastery and that land and whether you're allowed to go there, but maybe even do a ceremony there. And when I was training as a shaman, and one of the things that death is a natural part of life, right? It is the other end of life. So for a shaman, death is something that we have to learn and deal with. And spirits that didn't quite make it to where they want to go, they get stuck. And there are techniques to help them move on. So I've had to go to cemeteries and do ceremonies so that they move on. And maybe something like that is needed at the monastery. But obviously, as long as there's permission to go in and work there and what have you, then we give. So we need permission from the human owner, and then we ask Pachamama if we can work there and do a ceremony there as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
And then she decides.
And the well, definitely the well. Something definitely,
There was
something funny about that well, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that's such an important, so with the tradition that I've ended up working with, which is through the pilgrimage walking and the Dowser community, the springs and the wells, because they're permeating out into the land. That water is permeating into the land. So that's a focal point for where you sing or you give love and all the rest of it. And that, that definitely needs some love. And there's that whole area. It's interesting because where the monastery is now, the monastery that they think actually existed actually is more where the seigneury is. So it's actually more in this garden and so around the ponds. Those ponds I think were built as fishing ponds for the monks, and so the whole basically this whole area was all the monastery. It wasn't just where the actual hotel is now. There's just been stuff going on in this valley for 3,000 years at least. So it's so cool. I love it. So should we pull some cards? Let's do that.
Yes.
If you enjoy this podcast, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jodie Rose. If you support on Patreon, you get to see the videos of the podcasts, and you get to have money off of courses, and just like there's lots of things that I put out for free, and it means that you're saying thank you for all of the gifts or offerings that I put out into the world that maybe you enjoy and receive each week, like the Nonsense in the Chaos podcast, which is out and available for everyone to listen to and is on all platforms for free. And then I also do the moon ceremonies every fortnight, which are for free. And I also do articles for the Guernsey Press every fortnight, which are for free for everyone to read. And on the whole, I try to make my work available for everyone so that I can be of service and helpful to as many people as possible. But I also need to make a living and survive in the world. I mainly do that by being a barmaid. That just sort of keeps me afloat. But it's amazing because I have now changed my shifts so that I work just Friday night and Sunday day. It's grueling, but it's fun. They're the fun shifts to do. And I would be socialising and hanging out at the pub on those days anyway, so it just means I'm getting paid to be there, which is cool. But it means I now have Monday to Friday free. Like today I would be at work, it's Wednesday, and normally I'd be at work, and it just feels so good. I feel like I've got my life back again, because I spent 20 years in Brighton living as an artist, and I just was my whole life until I moved here 6 years ago. My whole life I have been fully in control of my time, and I know that that's a real privilege. It meant that I didn't have any money. Like, I swapped security and affluence for freedom and, you know, being in complete control of my energy levels. And I'm in a onesie today because I want to relax and I want to stay in my pajamas until I get ready later to go out this evening. If I want to do that, then I will. It's because my period's due. It's not happening. I seem to be, the menopause is, I'm up to day 31 today, which I've never done before. I normally go up to day 25. So this is quite extraordinary. It feels like it, like a car engine trying to like get going, like it keeps trying to happen and then it's not happening. So yeah, I am going through the menopause. It's happening and it's interesting, but it means that I want to be in control of my energy levels again and be back in this place where my time isn't owned by someone else. And I know that that's very normal, but I don't think it is normal. I think it's completely wrong. I don't think that we should have our time controlled by other people. We're selling our lives to people, and they're the most precious things we have. And I want to be back in the place where I have control over my life. And I would love to not have to work at the pub at all. I mean, I enjoy working at the pub. If I've got to work, then working in a pub is great. If I got paid really well, I would be very happy, because it's a brilliant thing to do, to be paid to socialise, and everyone in the pub have to speak to you. It's great. I love it. But I would love it even more if I could just go to the pub and relax and enjoy myself and have complete freedom with my time and energy through being an artist. And because there aren't audiences in Sark, in Brighton, I was able to make a living because we had the Arts Council and because we had audiences. Here, my audience is online, which is why I'm having to play the online game, which I would also rather not have to do. But, we can't have everything, can we? And if people were supporting me on Patreon, that would be, if I had enough people supporting me, that could be my living, and that could be me being able to just be a full-time artist, which I would love to do. So if you get any kind of solace or pleasure or enjoyment out of the work that I create and would like to support me, I would be hugely honoured and grateful for that support. And I really say a huge thank you to everyone who does support me already. I've got some exciting offerings coming up that I want to share with you. So the moon ceremonies, there's going to be a really sexy, gorgeous Taurus dark moon ceremony this Saturday. And I'm excited about that because I missed the last moon ceremony and it made me feel sad. But also Taurus is my archetype, because Aphrodite is my archetype. So I'm going to have a really sexy, yummy, scrummy Taurus dark moon ceremony on Saturday. So I invite you to join me for that. It's free. You just click on the link in the bio on my Instagram, Kriya Arts. Kriya Arts is KRIYAARTS. So if you go on there, follow me, you just use the link in the bio to come to the moon ceremonies, and they're really accessible and friendly and comfortable and just not anything scary at all. So you just join online. It's at 9:00 and we'll do really yummy things. If you follow me online, you'll see a list of like things to bring and what you need to bring and do, like instructions for the ceremony. And they're every fortnight, so you're very welcome to come along to them. And also, the Which Fool Are You course is going to be starting again soon. I'm really excited. I love doing the Which Fool Are You course. It's a delicious piece of work that I offer where I support people to work through their archetype. And if you've done it before, you can do it again. I've done it every year for years now. So I was doing it before I moved here. I believe so. It's hard to remember with the pandemic, isn't it? I think I did it before I moved here. Yeah, I'm sure I did. So I think it's like 7 years I've been doing it. And every year I learn something new and I go deeper into the work, and it's so delicious. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I've seen people completely flourish. I've seen people change their gender and their pronouns off the back of doing it. I've seen people fully live in their, like, just come alive. That's what I love about it, is I watch people come alive. I watch people step into being high priestesses and actually setting up covens and being a high priestess. And I see people owning their sexuality and just loving and adoring who they are as a person, because they know what they're meant to be doing. They're here as an archetype. We're all here as a character, as a vibe. And that vibe exists already. There is a pantheon that comes with that vibe. There is a plethora of tools and fabrics and elements that go with it, but we're not just one. I mean, some people have a very clear one. They're not that common. Most people are a mix. And so that's why I learn more all the time, because I have my strongest one, which is Venus, who rules Taurus, which is why this Taurus dark moon is a Venus dark moon and is all about sensuality and sexuality and yumminess and creativity and just loveliness. But I also have the warrior in me, like I'm a fierce warrior. I am a fighter and I have no fear, which is awesome. I don't know why I was born without fear, but somehow I was. And then there's also Hecate, the triple goddess. So I also seem like a child, a mother and a crone, even though I'm none of those things. But there's a bit of me that seems like this wise old woman. There's a bit of me that seems like a mother, even though I never ended up having children. And I'm very mothering and nurturing. And then I have this childlike quality where I just seem like I'm an eternal child. But I'm none of those things. So Hecate is very powerful for me as well. Who else have... Oh, and Ing, which is the masculine part of me, because there's a bit of me that's very masculine. And Ing is the creative God, because the masculine in me is actually a gay man. I'm a gay man in a woman's body, having the time of my life. And that Ing is kind of like David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, Elton John. It's just this gay creative energy. And yeah, I love plugging into that as well. That was really fun. I got to be George Michael, basically. When I drag up, I look like George Michael, it turns out. So it's just an amazing experience to delve into your archetype and learn about them. And yeah, it's all starting to percolate through for me at the moment of what I'm going to work on next, and I'm excited about it. And it's all creative packs, so you get a pack for each week, working with the moon phase that we're working through. So we start on the 15th of June, which will be the Gemini dark moon. We start with that dark moon because it's the twin. So we're working with the twin effect, and the twin effect is your inner and outer world. So you've got your outer world version of you, which you show to the world and is what you've been walking around in as your avatar. And then you have your inner world being, which is your archetype that goes back and is infinite and is part of the cosmos and is the bit that when you die, you'll remain being. It's the eternal bit of you that connects with everybody else. And you're an aspect of this inner divine jewel that comes through as an individual on Earth. And it's about you going, right, why am I on Earth at this time, in this place, in this body, with this flavour and this atmosphere and this archetype? What is my role, therefore, on Earth if I'm here as a representative of this aspect of the big inner divine jewel back there? That's all the facets. All the facets are all in that divine jewel, but I'm playing a particular facet on Earth. Why? What am I here to do? And we figure it out. And so you get a weekly pack. And so it's self-governed. You could not do any of it. You could do it later, although it works nicely with the moon energies that we're working with. So in a way, you want to kind of follow the moon energies, but you do it at your own pace. And there'll be a bunch of creative activities for you to do, because it's all about connecting with the inner part of you, which is the creative part of you, the silent twin. So we start with the Gemini dark moon. We build up to the Capricorn full moon, where we can really lay some proper foundations. I'm a Capricorn, that's my sign. And it's all about long time, making changes, getting things going, ambition, drive, to make it really grounded and make it a way to live your life. And then it ends with the Cancer dark moon, which is just a nice loving ending, because Cancer is all about caring for the home, the heart, the family, those closer to you. So it leaves you in your safest space, at home, in your life, in your world, for you to carry on in that place, in your pixel, being a god or a goddess, an archetype in and amongst the world that you live in. So it lands you back in your world, but with you're there as an archetype, like the highest version of yourself. So that's a course that I'll be running. Just follow me on social media and you'll see the advert and it will have all the information on there. Looking forward to that, and I hope you join me on the journey. And now let's hear more from wonderful Ben.
Yeah, okay. No. So it was the one to the right of that. There's a slight delay.
This one?
No, you're right.
My right, this one?
Yes. Yeah, that one. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yay.
And interestingly, that's Dominion. So Dominion is all about property, owning land, your domain, and it's the Two of Wands. Yeah, so the Two of Wands. So it's this fiery wand energy, which is about, in this tradition, it's the passion, your passion and drive. But this is Dominion. Yeah, what does that word mean to you? What does that make you feel?
Dominion. It's got an element of protection, control, ownership, but also pride of something that you've created, something where you can be yourself, or where there is a space to be yourself, or where there is a common set of rules, but where everyone can coexist. So dominion can actually be a heavy word and be quite oppressive, but at the same time, a dominion of how you hold yourself in your spiritual tradition, that for me is also a dominion, and that is infinite, and you go by your own moral compass of how you want to live your life and inspire people, and where you walk and where you touch people, that is your dominion. So for me, it's not necessarily a negative word. It's just sort of it means an expansive area, or with kind of powerful influence, guidance, rules, which are there generally, I'm going to say, there to help you, not there to squish you. Yeah, that's what that feels like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel I'm in a weird place because I suddenly have a house, and we own it. We bought the house, and that was not even a dream come true, because it wasn't on my radar that was ever going to happen.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's come as a miracle. It's been a total miracle. And so to be here, it's still a lease. It's because everything in Sark pretty much is freehold, or whatever it is. No, leasehold.
Leasehold, yeah.
Yeah, leasehold. So you have the owners who own the tenements, and then everyone leaseholds the houses. So we've got like a 53-year lease. But things also have changed, so you can end up buying the land now. And all of that is weird to me. My friend who was over for the festival, has helped me put Beltane on, kept saying, "Oh, you're going to be guillotined now." And I feel like that because it feels weird. Like, it doesn't fit with me quite right that this has happened. And also, obviously, I don't believe in land ownership, because the land is the land and it's ours. It's all of ours. But already I was saying to Diz, no one who listens to this podcast is going to be one of these people. But if we're able to, at some point in the future, actually buy the land, what I'd really like to do, because we're not going to have kids, we don't want to have children, is to sign it over so that it becomes a cooperative, and that whoever owns it, so we kind of give it to the island as a cooperative. Because my friend who's now staying with us for the summer, she grew up in a house like that, where some hippies had given the house over as a cooperative, and her family grew up there, and it was just such a cool thing to do. But yeah, I feel like it also reminds me of a druid that I interviewed on the podcast. He talks about creating a circle or a space. So a bit like you were saying with the altar, where you create these sacred spaces outside. He said to find a space and to put your hair, your blood, your poo, your wee and everything all in a circle. That's a space you keep coming back to, and that you keep putting more and more of yourself into it. You write poetry for it. You have sex there. You do everything you can there. And that's your space where you're connecting deeply to the land, which is somewhere
that makes total sense.
Yeah, for me, like that.
Did all of those things, but
I know.
What in talk?
My friend literally got in touch and was like, "You're not going to poo there." He was like, "Yeah, a sacred poo." I was like, "Wow, I've never heard of the sacred poo."
Just on a tangent, there are some shamans who do women's circles, and they say every moon you collect some of the blood, and then you use the blood there to honour it. So
yeah,
what's a bit
but
of
that, I mean, I initiated myself as a witch on Glastonbury tour with my blood, and I poured it out and I cast it on the circle around me, and then declared myself of service to the earth and as service to the land. And then I had to get down the hill. My hand was literally covered in blood, and it was just as the dog walkers were starting to appear, and all the dogs were coming running up to me like, "You smell interesting." Just trying to cover my hand up so I could go wash it in the spring at the bottom.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That was fun.
Actually, while you mentioned that, and just coming back to the card dominion, so in the shamanic traditions, the shaman of the land, the Pampa Mesayo, is actually called the guardian of the lowland. And it doesn't mean that you own it. It just means that you are the caretaker of the own land. And now the feeling is like, you've clearly been drawn to your house. You've clearly been drawn there. You are the steward for 53 years on some legal piece of paper, which one day will not exist anyway. But clearly you and your energy and your purpose and your mission in this life, in that meat bag kind of thing, is to look after that land. So you are very much a guardian, and that whole area is your dominion in that case, and whatever you're bringing, because that your values and who you are and what you believe to be true and authentic will echo out through that area the more you hold space there. So dominion makes sense. Yeah. Brilliant. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you.
I know. I always do. I feel like I was meant to. Well, I think I've been alive a lot of times, and I'm now just like, right, come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching a program the other day where someone could reset themselves and come back again. And my friend, the one who's moved in with me, she turned around to me and she went, "You've basically been here loads of times, and you're now just playing it really quick." You're like, just push.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I would, if I could, I would have a million lives. I wouldn't want to live forever, but I'd love it if I could just keep coming back and doing things because I love it. So you tell me when to stop.
Now.
That one there.
So a little bit to your right.
There.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go like that. Hopefully that's the right one. Sorrow.
Yeah, okay.
So that is the Three of Swords. Swords is about the intellect and the mind. So it's depression. Like, and something that you mentioned earlier, like, I think all of us who find this path have probably gone through something at some point. There's normally a stepping off the cliff, the Fool card, stepping off the cliff into the unknown. So yeah, like, how do you feel about sorrow now?
So interestingly, in the shamanic tradition, we have 9 temples in our heart. And these temples or chambers, they all vibrate, and together they make the frequency or the feeling of love. And one of these temples is the temple of sorrow. And sorrow is as much about the new beginning as it is about letting go.
Yeah.
Because if you get stuck in the pain, then you'll be stuck there together. But when you let go, that creates a new beginning. So for me, sorrow is as equally about going forward as it is of letting go of the past.
Yeah.
And from what I've noticed from anyone who is spiritual and really go, and not spiritual as in where's the mantle of I'm a spiritual person, I've got a crystal wand and I'm going to call myself a spiritual person, but it's genuinely spiritual and just gets it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They've all at some point had a kind of death, a kind of I'm out of here, I'm not playing this game anymore, this life in this meat bag doesn't serve me anymore, I either want to return back to the universe or I want to change everything kind of moment. That is the new beginning part. And generally, when they've said, I've had enough, it's because they're feeling so heavy and they're trapped in a sorrow, or they're trapped in a heaviness or a depression and so on and so forth. So sorrow for me is when you're at the bottom of the pit, and you're at the bottom of the pit, there's nowhere else to go. So from there, that's when you push and you start to rise. Yeah. So it's not sorrow. Sorrow, to feel sorrow is normally not very nice, but actually it can be beautiful because it's realizing how much you loved something and to realize, oh my God, I've got all that love in my heart. That is amazing. I can love that much and feel this pain. That is amazing. And because when you're depressed, you don't feel anything because you're numb. You just feel like rubbish, but you get to a point where you don't, like, nothing matters. It's just same stuff every day. You could win the lottery, you could have sex, you could have your favorite food, you could watch your favorite programs. Okay, now what? Yeah, kind of thing. So depression is 0, whereas sorrow, that's an intense feeling of pain, but it comes actually from love. And from there, once you're there, then there is a clear way up because you're like, I don't want this anymore, and I choose to not have this anymore. I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to rise in a different way. And F you to the rest of the world who tells me I should be this way, I'm going my own way. And that's when you find yourself. So yeah, it's a powerful card. It's a powerful emotion. How do we connect it? That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that's good. Yeah, I like that. No, and I agree. Everyone I know who has found liberation, it's come off the back of having a really heavy, horrible time. And I literally said to the universe, you're in charge now because I'm done. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah. So, you're in charge. Yeah. And then everything turned out completely nuts.
Yeah, exactly. But it flows in its own way and it's full. You're full of life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas how many people have the 9 to 5 routine that they've had for 10, 20, 30 years. They have the 2.4 children stereotype, the house, the car, the dog, the thing. They go through the motions, but on the inside, they're not fulfilled. It's like on paper, it looks nice, but actually, in my opinion, it's better to go deep into that pain, feel all that stuff of why you feel the pain, and then find why you want to love yourself, and let that explode, and then maybe not do some of the normal stuff, but then you live a full and happy life, and fulfilling life, should I say?
Yeah,
it's always happy, but it's fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want it to always be happy, otherwise it'd be boring. Cool. So I'll do the third card.
Stop.
Oh, is it this one?
And then one little bit to your right again.
That one?
Yeah. On my screen, it looks like it's that. Yeah.
Great.
So I think
that wanted to come out earlier, actually. That was one of the ones I was hovering my finger over earlier. So this is the Princess of Wands. The Princess of Cups. So the Princess of Cups is holding a shell with pearls in it. The cups is all about emotion and water and your inner depths. And she's got a swan and a lotus flower. What's it called? Like a lily pad flower. Fish. So a watery inner world. What does the watery inner depths and the feminine sort of aspect of that feel for you?
So for me, water is feminine energy. Watery depths is wild feminine energy. Almost, so we have a word in the Kero tradition of salka, which is wild, untamed feminine power. A tidal wave. You do not want to be standing in the way of a tidal wave. And a tidal wave can literally shape whatever is in front of it to push it out of the way, or just no longer be controlled by that. So feminine energy for me is a very powerful, flowy, changey energy, which can bring all sorts of turbulence and change. But from that, you let go of a lot of stuff, and then you can invite in a lot of new things. So sometimes it really blooming hurts to let go of who you are, or stuff that you've always done, or stuff you've always believed, or stuff that you're supposed to do, to claim yourself and claim your own happiness. But actually, it's the feminine energy that guides you to that. And especially in the healing, when I've got a client and trying to find the emotion connected to what they're feeling, because most people's vocabulary of their emotion is actually quite limited. And so I feel happy, sad, hungry, horny kind of thing, 5. But actually, it might be bitterness, or it might be jealousy, or it might be resentment. Or it might be something more nuanced than those. And it's the feminine energy, like the feminine lightning, like you have to flow around the corners. You have to look under the stones. You have to get into the cracks and use the feminine energy to find that energy that you're looking for. So it's it's not direct, but it's very powerful. And it's very cleansing. So like the rain is feminine energy for me. It's very cleansing. It's washing away old stuff, but it's also very powerful. You don't mess with it. And then also the fact that we've spoken about the well, you've got the well where you are. There's something connected to that well. It's a source of life. It was a source of life. It's just from a geophysical perspective, the well is feeding water to all sorts of different parts of Sark. So it is a source of life force to other areas of Sark where other things are growing. So to honor that well, to cleanse the energy of the well, or to work out what is the energy of the well and honor it, will also help spread the energy to Sark and also over the Dominion kind of thing. For me, it's a vessel, it's cleansing, it's healing. Yeah, that's what I mean. And very powerful in its own way. And probably the tidal wave is not very subtle, but feminine energy is also can be very subtle, the way it weaves and flows and gets around corners and gets in there. Like masculine
erodes over time. I'll wear you down.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, my husband would be like, yep.
But it's not direct, but it's equally as effective. Put it that way.
Yeah, totally. I've got such a respect for water. I've nearly drowned 6 times. And I moved to an island surrounded by sea, because obviously that's the safest thing I could do.
To live on a boat.
And I swim in the sea all the time on my own. I'm not scared of water. I have absolute respect for her. I am scared of her, but Yeah, I love being in the sea. I love being in water. It is one of my favourite things in the world to do, is to go swim in the freezing cold sea and just,
Okay,
yeah,
peaceful. Yeah.
I love it.
That brings you. I've done some sea swimming here, and it certainly makes you present, right? And it makes
Yeah,
you
really does.
really appreciate the moment, even
Yeah.
if you're frozen beyond everything and everything
Yeah.
hurts. You're very present. So,
Yeah, it brings you into your body.
Yeah.
I love the hit when it starts warming up. I'm like, oh, it's not quite as juicy as when it's freezing cold. But it's just so, and also here because it's so stunning. I always scream, I feel alive every single time. But I love it. So the last thing is the Chaos Crusade. So what
Yeah.
is the thing that you would like to suggest for people to do that will just
Yeah.
turn their lives a little bit?
So to practice being present and to practice gratitude, and what we do in this tradition is before the ceremonies, is we poured wine out on the ground to honor the ground and to say thank you and please can we do a ceremony here? And then we brought the flowers and we left the flowers on the wicker man. So my invitation is actually for people to go and buy a little bottle of wine and to take it to their favorite place in nature or their garden or their favorite tree or their favorite pond or whatever it is, and just to pour out that bottle of wine to give it to nature as a gift. In the same way that if it's someone's birthday and you don't really know what to get them, you probably buy them wine or flowers. So wine. And even if you don't drink, it's not about the alcohol. It's about a drink where lots of love and energy has gone into making it, and it's supposed to be enjoyed. In most cases, it's supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be a nice thing, kind of thing. So that's why we use wine, kind of thing. You could use a coffee as well, but you don't tend to buy people a coffee. Sometimes you do for a birthday. But anyway, that's the point. So buy a wine or a drink for Mother Earth, and to pour it out, all of it, to give thanks to that favorite place in nature, which is there and has held you in ways which you'll never know, and just to say thank you. And then also, one thing that many people are really useless at is balancing the giving and the taking in their life. And especially if you're a mum, you are awesome at giving and you're rubbish at receiving compliments and rubbish at receiving help and rubbish at asking for help until there's too much, and then you become this tidal wave of... To balance the giving is to give love to yourself by buying yourself a bunch of flowers and make them beautiful as if it was your best friend's birthday who you haven't seen in 25 years. Get that big bunch of flowers for yourself.
Yeah.
And then
I
have
love
it
that.
somewhere visible. So
I
two
love
things.
that. Yeah, I think that's a really gorgeous thing to do. And I love buying flowers. We don't have a florist here, but I will get some from Guernsey. I'll come to Guernsey.
Do that, or you can pick flowers, and that's even more beautiful. Because then you make the effort to go out and you choose. Yeah,
exactly. I love getting flowers from the land. The house that we just left actually had a really lovely flower garden. Here we've got absolutely the wildflowers, and I probably won't pick them. I'll just enjoy them outside my window. But I'm gonna come to Guernsey and go to a florist and get myself a proper bunch of flowers. Yeah, that's what.
Does Interflora deliver?
I don't think so. I'll find out. But yeah, someone once tried to get me a bunch of flowers for my birthday, and they got in touch with my friend on Sark, and they just laughed and they're like, "Yeah, you've not been to Sark yet, have you?" We've got a charity shop and a food shop and a small little convenience store, and that's it.
Okay, then it's a beautiful mission to buy yourself a bunch of flowers. Maybe you need to get a boat to go and do that, and that makes it even more special. Those flowers, whatever they are, will smell amazing.
Yeah, totally. And I'm definitely going to go give the land some wine. I love mead, so I'm always giving the land mead. It's the
that's
best
amazing.
Wine. Yeah,
yes,
I love
definitely
mead.
do that. Do you make it yourself?
I'm going to start making it myself. I'm going to start keeping bees here, which has always been my dream. I've always wanted to keep bees. I love bees.
Do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a guy over here who's a beekeeper who's really passionate about it. So I'm on his list for getting the next swarm. So I'm excited about that. And I love honey so much. So yeah, very excited about making mead. I'll make some mead for you.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'll get some bees.
Because when I was living in Sweden, obviously because it's got the Scandinavian, the Viking roots, so they have a whole old Viking bar where they sell mead, and it tastes amazing. You get absolutely drunk before you know it because it tastes so good, and you're like, and then,
this is lovely.
And then you realise, oh dear, that's too much.
Yeah,
But
yeah, my feet are drunk.
Yeah.
It was the original alcohol. It's the nectar of the gods.
Yeah, there you go.
It's heavenly.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So yeah, I promise I'll make you some mead. So you're going to come and see me in Sark, and we'll go on a bit of a journey, working with the land, working together. And then we'll do another podcast in the future and talk about what's happened and what we've discovered. That would be
Sounds
awesome.
good to me.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And yeah, that was wonderful. So that was the wonderful shaman Ben the Shaman, Ben Crow. And I'm super excited about the journey we're going to go on together and how that's going to open up to the land and to this next phase of work that I feel like I'm stepping into. I also just reached out to someone else who was the energy healer who supported me on my pilgrimage to COP26. I had a support team working in the background who did ceremonies and just fed things back. So I had one person who was a spokesperson who would hold these ceremonies for me with other energy workers and then would report back to me. And it was so helpful. And I've had this person reach out to me recently, who's quite a famous person, who's asked me to support them with something where they feel like there's a team of people working against them negatively. And they've asked me to support them. And I've reached out to this lady to say, would you work with me to help this person? And it just feels like I'm being pushed to work with, they're not necessarily elders, but people who are more experienced or on a path that I'm now being led onto that I can work with, like Ben and my other friend, who I will also see whether she might be interested in doing a podcast, because it would be interesting to talk to her as well. I won't say her name until I've spoke to her, but yeah, it just feels like some new things are opening up. I'm very excited about it all. It's really wonderful. So yeah, that was wonderful, Ben. How brilliant was that? I love that we managed to speak to each other post Beltane, because that felt relevant. And yeah, it's an interesting, exciting journey that is now unfolding in our beautiful house on our beautiful land. So thank you for being here, and keep listening, and we'll see how things unfold. So big love, and I'll see you in on.